Hi guys, welcome to DeeperWoman the Podcast, and on today's episode we have a well-known TV personality from the UK. He's a co-host on some of the most controversial talk shows. He has appeared on dynamic shows like BK Chat, Hot Desk, and well-known podcasts within the UK industry. He is a model known for being a trendsetter and is not afraid to wear his bonnet. Most people know him as Uncle Lou, the unapologetic alpha male 2.0, a man that is proud of his roots and know where he comes from. Ladies and gentlemen, Lucas Walker on DeeperWoman the Podcast. Hi guys, welcome to DeeperWoman the Podcast. I am your co-host Tox Adelesi, and I'm here with
Abinaya Bois, your Ghanaian sister, is in the building.
Yes, guys, we just want to, welcome you to DeeperWoman the Podcast. We are a platform that advocates for Black-owned business, and we talk about, raw and unfiltered things, women-related topics. And, we just want to use this platform to help this generation and the younger generation that is coming just to be educated about some, important topics that relates to the modern day woman. And, we just want to welcome you to our platform. Welcome, guys. As for today, we have a very, very special guest, as you can all see. Mm-hmm. Uncle Lou. We're going to dive in today in a very special topic. Obviously, we know that, DeeperWoman the Podcast, it stands for women-related topics, but I also find it important that we as women should also understand, from the male perspective, because sometimes we women, we think that we know what men want, but we actually don't. No. So hearing it from an alpha male, hearing it from, one of our Black brothers in the community to speak on being alpha male, masculinity, it's all an episode about learning, exchanging ideas and views. So guys, tune in today. And for our new listeners, welcome also to you guys, coming on the show. We appreciate you. Just enjoy yourselves and just take some notes.
Yeah. Take your tea and your biscuits.
Exactly.
And enjoy.
Yeah. So, Lucas, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, guys. Not too bad. Thank you for having me on here. I really, really am excited and looking forward to delving into some of the topics you have for me.
Yeah.
I've not done any podcasts for a while. I've been quite selective. So I'm excited and honored to be part of this is something that I actually am. I like to have conversations with women. I feel like both sides understanding each other's perspectives go a long way. So it's a conversation I'm really up for. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you also here. You said something that was a bit remarkable because I have noticed, because first when we tried to find you on social media, I couldn't find you on the normal Instagram. I was like, where is this guy? Where is our brother? Like, where are you? And that was the second one. And when I finally found you, I was like, wow, it's like you were living like a low life kind of something for a while, like you did not want to be in the spotlight. Is there a specific reason for that you were just gone away from the media for a while?
I think it's a good conversation, a good question that you asked, and I think that it also tallies into things that are happening currently in real time. Why I say that is because I think when I first came onto social media, I was very passionate about expressing myself and expressing the views from a male's perspective that I felt was under attack. Is the alpha male, the man's man, so to say.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I was saying at the time, I felt like in order for me to continue to get my message out, I need to be self-sufficient. I need to be able to. We live in times with cancel culture, so a lot a lot of people. Dependencies, is on their jobs. I'm no different to that. I work. I do other things as well. But for me, it was the opinions I was given and the way that I was given them. I don't think it would have safeguarded me in terms of the real world. And I started working very young. I built my way up to a very good role, and I felt like I needed to scale it back a bit, make sure that I'm fully equipped, because these things don't just affect you, they affect your family. From Nigerian family,
True.
African background. My parents very, very, flexible. They're very, very amazing. They're amazing people. They give me all the leeway to be myself.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was only right that I think about them as well. When I was doing the whole social media back chat London thing,
Yeah.
I had a lot of opportunities to go into things like Big Brother, a couple shows on MTV. But again, like I previously said, it was just a thing of my family isn't prepared for all of that. If you see what the backlash is like with regards to, I'll just pick a name that's happening currently with regards to Andrew Tate. That's a man that I listened to quite a lot, even before he blew up, and it was a lot about the message I actually used to give, which is self-empowerment.
Yeah.
2 feet, which is nobody should be able to tell you who you are. You should have full confidence in who you are as a person. Be adaptable, that kind of thing. And as you can see, the way things are played out with him, he's currently accused of a whole bunch of charges. And for me, I just felt like the way I was going, especially at that time, because social media isn't how it is today then. I just felt like if I carried on, I probably will find myself in some sort of trouble of some kind in terms of, the matrix or the social media world. Culture, people that don't agree with men that, have, the confidence that I have, or sharing my passion or individuality, So let me take a back seat and focus on the things that I like and control and control over my own narrative. I know I went.
That's
yeah. Into the things that I talk about when I'm passionate about it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But what you said about the internet, because nowadays, if you don't take care, the internet will come for you. Like there are actually people out there that are like, researching your past. What have they said before? What have they done before? An example with the, that YouTuber Murat, and then they came with, his past and all those stuff. And it might be something that you wrote before and you've forgotten about it. I mean, like,
the internet
and
never
they
forgets.
will find you.
They will.
So it's very understandable. Trust me, we do understand where you're coming from.
Fair as well. It's like you said, my main focus at the time wasn't so much about my past, I think. And people that have heard me speak will know this. Like I stand by the things that I've lived through and my experience.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more a case of like your future and what they could create for your future. So things that haven't happened, but they take one thing and then they say, so they take one and add three. I just didn't want anybody to have a control over who Lucas is, what Lucas is about, and have any impact or affect my future. I feel like I have a lot to offer. I think that my passion is there for a reason, and I think that later on in my life, I think that those things will all come to one and align. And I think I just have to safeguard that. I think anybody who's trying to do anything with regards to our brothers and sisters and be accountable to our community as Africans and or even as it's something that you have to be mindful. Tomorrow is never promised. The thing
facts
fire for, you have to safeguard that. That's that. I can preach or say to anybody. So that was the step that I took with regards to safeguarding my future, so I'm able to still be that same Lucas that everybody was making so much noise about and give opinions about, in even times where it matters even more and it's more impactful and it's more well received, should I say. But yeah, it was a great journey. I loved it. We had some amazing successes. Opened up my whole entire world to a different environment that I've never been used to before. I barely even went on YouTube, to be honest with you, prior to the show.
Yeah.
It was, I must say.
Yeah. We definitely saw, how the success of BK Chats influenced you as, as a content creator that you are today. And one of the things that I could see on the show is that you, like you just said, you were always speaking your truth, no matter what, no matter who was on the show.
I really love that.
Lucas was always bringing in his 100% A game fire. I'm an alpha male, and you're gonna respect my presence if you like it or not. And as a Nigerian, I can.
You gotta respect me.
You're gonna respect my husband too. Is a Yoruba man, so I definitely see that. Respect is a must. So diving into the topic for today, being an alpha male. If you could describe, the word alpha male, what does that mean to you? And what do you see in today's society when you think, or if you hear the word alpha male?
So it's a two-pronged question. The first part to the question, which is what is an alpha male to me? Now, when the words alpha male, it was very much about male empowerment. Very much about believing in you can change any narrative or anything that you want to change about your life. There's nothing that can control you unless you're willing to allow it to. Like, it's all about self-sufficiency. It's all about stability. To the point where it's gone on to me, even when I was mentoring in schools with kids with social and behavioral needs, it came into a thing where I built these pillars, which are about communication, adaptation, respecting the laws of the land. Pillars for me are what an alpha male is, or what an alpha male grows to. And not only just an alpha male, just a human in general who is, chasing and wanting self-confidence, self-fulfillment, to stand on integrity. A lot of people say things like pride is not good. Oh, you've got too much ego. Yeah, too much of those things. But when you scale it back and you actually look at the context of those words, it's good to have pride, because sometimes pride doesn't make you do things that are shameful. It's good to have a bit of it, because sometimes you have to feel yourself in a situation, because other people don't give you your flowers sometimes. But again, I think we live in times now, which leads me to answering the second part of your question, where the alpha male in today's society isn't received. And I think there's an attack on the alpha male, or the dominant male, or the be controlled by institutions. For example, I remember growing up and seeing some men that I looked up to. Let me not say looked up to, but I revered, right? And a lot of what made me like these men were the fact that not one institution can control that man. He took, like, so for example, your jobs, he worked the jobs he wanted to work. He went to the places he wanted to go to. He had, like, for example, you want to take a holiday, you can do that. You want to be around your children, you can do that. You live in time where your work dictates your lifestyle. That your children, it can affect the partner you pick. It can affect how you are mentally and how you communicate with other people. For me, I'm at a place where, especially now in today's society, 2023, we're losing sight of individuality. We're losing sight of that. I can do anything I set my mind to. There's so much tendency on, oh, my government's going to bail me out, or somebody's coming to save me.
Yeah. And
that for me isn't what a man is, or even anybody in general, but mainly I am a man, and I classify myself as a dominant male, and as somebody that, I'm confident in myself, in my faith, in my spirituality, in my culture and traditions, in my upbringing. I'm confident in those things, and why shouldn't I be able to express those things? Why should I be controlled by other people's, teachings or influences? It should be a case where we should be able to pick and choose what benefits our lives and, benefits us as men. The woman you want to marry shouldn't dictate to you how, your household should be. It is a union, it is a partnership to an extent, but like when you go to your places of work, there is unlimited amount of respect for your bosses, because that's, okays your paycheck. Well, I'm the man you okayed to marry. The same thing applies. If you have all these appliances in your workplace, it's the same thing at home. It's just that lost sight of.
True.
So yeah, for me, those are the things that make up an alpha male. Self-sufficiency, leadership, and taking control. Because at the end of the day, not everybody can drive the car. Someone's got to be the driver.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Wow. I like the words that you used, because it kind of like makes it clear for me. Well, from your perspective, what the alpha male, and that is what I'm used to, within the African culture. I'm Ghanaian.
Yeah.
And, before you came, we're even talking about, all these different types of personality. When you go online, you see different personality, men's personality tests, something like that. And then you see alpha male, you see beta male and omega male and all those stuff. And it was quite confusing for us when we saw that. We're like, okay, there are all these different type of, because now I see, when you take it into a relationship, like women want a man that, is in control, but then also soft, kind of. So you can not be too much of this and too much of that. We want the in-between kind of thing. But in my culture, I'm used to the man being the same kind of, you are the man. And that's
you're just the original alpha male. There is no, in Nigeria, go and ask Yoruba men. Are you a beta? They just look at you like, what are you saying? There is, the only thing that they know is the alpha male being dominant.
Yeah.
You being the leader of your household. Obviously, your wife has a say. And I think that is what my sister is just saying, that it's very confusing nowadays, because we women, we want a man that is dominant. We want a man that is, footing all the bills and everything. But at the same side, we want a man that is very soft. We want him to be having feminine traits,
emotional, very emotional.
Men are not wired that way. And it even takes us back in how God created us. God created men in a different way, and God created women in a different way. And I think we women, and I'm not backlashing all women that we don't know how men are. We don't know how men are, but you have to understand that men are wired differently. You can't expect a man to be an alpha, he being the, being the leader, and then having traits like you do as a woman.
Feminine traits, yeah.
It's not possible. It's not going to work. And even, to be honest, I don't want that, because if things are going rough, I don't want my husband now to start crying with me on the couch like I don't know what to do. I want him to say, honey, no worry, we'll figure this out. I'm going to find a solution. That is what the typical original alpha male is, looking for solution, protecting his family, and providing. Yeah. So nowadays, in nowadays society, the narrative has really been pushed. Also, if you see, for instance, also, Andrew Tate, whereby he speaks his truth. Because to be honest, I really didn't know who Andrew Tate was until I saw a lot of negative things on social media, that he's masculine, he's too masculine, he's too toxic,
and
even with the ban, and even when he was banned on TikTok, he was even banned on Twitter for so long, and that after 5 or 6 years, he was allowed to come back. Imagine you just being yourself as an alpha male, and because you're speaking about your preferences, the way you see things in life, and then you're being shut down by some higher up people because, oh, that is too toxic. Oh, that is too masculine for the society. You have to be soft. You have to just allow everything. You have to allow people to walk over you just like that. Just imagine that. So when I went to do my research, and when I went to listen to some of his podcasts, just listen, not even reacting, just listen to what he says. And I was like, this guy is really making sense. Yeah. He's not saying anything bad. Like, if some people or some groups have a specific view on how they want to see themselves, that is fine. I'm not judging you for that. Just speak your truth, do whatever
Be
you want to
you.
do. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Let me be me.
but if now an alpha male wants to say, for instance, I want my woman in the kitchen, for instance, or I prefer my woman, let's say I prefer my woman not to go to work and I want her to be with the kids. That already, you will see how some woman will start typing ga 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 ga.
Oh
like,
my God.
sometimes I would see abomination. No, what do you think you are? This toxic. Ga, 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 ga. But back in the 50s or 60s, that was the normal standard. The man goes out to work and the woman
holds the home.
Yeah, the woman holds the home. And I don't even see anything, weird with that. Everyone can have his preferences. You cannot tell a group of people because that is how they feel to just shut up and just suck everything what society wants them to, feel like. And it's heartbreaking to see that the generation that we are in now is like really following that, pushing that narrative. Oh, man has to be this, man has to be that. So if you are pushing that narrative, what's alpha male, what dominant male will be even left on this earth if all men now has to be, So
None.
it's very sad. Yeah.
I think we're starting to see a lot of that. I think it's a clash of cultures, in my opinion. So we live in this Western society, right, where their views are, and I say their views because a lot of the views from the Western world I don't subscribe to. My traditional values.
The
reason why I don't subscribe to them is hypocrisy, right? Like you just said, if the confident black man, for example, comes out and gives his opinion and is unapologetic, it's you can't speak like that. You're misogynistic. You're aggressive, and they just
aggressive.
But
imagine
that one.
LGBTQ community comes out and says something, everybody's behind them. Everybody supports. I think the other day I was reading a lot of stuff. Again, we're all aware of the social media backlash with regards to like the likes of Kanye West and Kyrie Irving, or whatever his name is, basketball player. Ethics stuff. Again, everybody, in my opinion, is entitled to their opinion as long as there's respect placed when they're giving these opinions. And
exactly,
if you're saying anything that is directly causing any harm or actually offense, people expressing their views and actually speaking about things to create honest discourse, for us to actually reach a place of understanding with regards to, I'm an alpha male and this is how I want things. Okay, you like alpha males, this is how you want things. Okay, we can go together, and that's perfectly fine. The same way you allow for, same-sex marriages, that's their choice, it's what they want, and everybody's happy to allow that to happen. So for me, it's like the respect has to be given across the board, and with Western civilization, especially with regards to black men. I'm a black man. I can only speak from that perspective without, people saying you're throwing out blanket statements or something. But as a black man, I feel like, especially the confident black males, the alpha males, so to say, we get disarmed a lot. If the example of Andrew Tate earlier, Andrew Tate is able to do what Lucas was doing about 6-7 years ago and continue that because Andrew Tate's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? You can't try to cancel him. He's back. He can go onto all these different platforms. He can take a private jet and fly to the next place. But what about normal men that are that still hold these strong and traditional values and themselves and believe in their source, so to say? Half of them get cancelled before they even reach that ceiling. Half stops before they reach that ceiling. Half of them get even converted. And what I mean by converted is that you get so chastised for the way you are as a person, you start to question yourself. And those strong in who they are change. And that's where you fall into these beta males or stigma males or whatever kind of males that there are out there.
Yeah.
I subscribe to. I think I was fortunate enough that I was raised in Nigeria. So I was born here in the UK, but I spent from 5 to 10 years old in Nigeria. So my foundation, my fundamentals in terms of understanding certain things with regards to life, like the people that are around me in terms of forming a friendship, they were like me. They were visible. I didn't grow up seeing people of different colors. Do you get what I mean? And feeling insecure or even more secure within that you would have in them. So when I came back and started secondary school, I already knew who I was. You know,
strong.
Bit of Yoruba here, like, and I always say this on the show. My name is Adeyefa. I stand by it, and I'm proud. It's the things that keep me from doing things, you know, that a lot of alpha and a lot of really strong, dominant, powerful males are not afraid of. You know, your polices or your institutions that, you know, are there to strike fear. It's things that are, and that's where you see a lot of, especially in this country, a lot of rise in violence amongst our youth. Because the police institutions, is only so much you can be afraid of that if that's what you've grown up in, and it doesn't deter you because you think that they're against you because of racism in our police forces and institutional racism as well. And for me, growing through that, what made me not do the worst of the worst of the worst is because I always think my family name has more weight than anything else. Police don't fear me, but if my mum finds out and my family find out that this is what this boy has done, I've caused embarrassment, I've caused disgrace. And that name keeps you in line with the things that you've been raised with, in my opinion. Take, you know, our women away from the homes and the men away from the homes, and you have a lot more, again, no disrespect to single parents, but you have a lot more single parent homes. You understand the type of child that is being raised. That doesn't mean the child is not going to grow to be the person they're supposed to be, but you have an implication that has with the opposite sex. That child is growing up not seeing mom and dad together. They've broken up. What is the tolerance for a relationship for that child? Again, same, but it's something I've started to factor in even in, you know, my dating life. I've got to an age where I'm like, okay, cool, maybe I should have done a few things a lot earlier, but I know what I want, you know, and I don't intend on compromising on what I feel is values, and I don't want to go through the same trouble. I don't want my child to go through the same troubles that I've gone through. Just to understand it, you know, right? You like it going to school, and I can be able to have that conversation with you and tell you to talk to mum as well, and we can show you daily what love really is, or how to interact with your partner, how, you know, in the hard times, even though you see mum and dad, you know, they're not on the best of terms, they always sort it out. No matter what, it's mum and dad. Do you know what I mean? And that keeps you in line with that when you grow up and when you meet somebody, because there is not a quickness to detach yourself from something you've yourself in. I think a lot of the things we're talking about, they really do have a massive correlation to do with our men being pulled out from the homes. So the attack on the strong, powerful men, it's attack on, again, black men, it's attack on the black man that can actually change the narrative. We have a lot of power within us. Our spirits are very different, in my opinion.
It is
values. The more you pull away from that, the less likely you are to feel a sense of allegiance to your people, or even to your offspring, because Western society tells you after 16 the kid can do what he wants, after 18 the kid can do what he wants, after 21. It doesn't work like that in Africa. They have their own tradition. They don't have any Western values or cultures. You know, they interact, they work with, but they've created a system for themselves where they're self-sufficient. This is why a lot of, you know, anytime you hear anything to do with China, it's negative, or to do with Russia, it's negative, because these people can defend themselves. You can't just go to that country and do what you like you did in Iraq, Afghanistan, Nigeria, all these places. You know, these people won't stand for it. You know, where
true.
Use comparisons. You know, our culture has a lot of values. Our culture is something that before education, before teaching, we had cultural education that taught you all of that on a steady. It's natural, you know. And I even take more value from those teachings now as I'm older, because you have conversations that you've had with parents. Like, God, that was so valuable. But at the time, it's what does man, or what does that know? You know, and as you get older, it just gives you that much more emphasis and belief to just continue to do the things that you know are right within your culture. But again, I say a lot of culture, I say a lot of traditions. It's not all perfect.
Yeah.
A lot that's been whitewashed. There's been a lot that's been diluted, and there's also a lot that we ourselves have embraced and tried to evolve. Our traditions and values. Not everything. Not one thing stays the same. That's why you find a lot of us as diasporas or even modern day Africans pull away from our own culture. Oh, I need to go to Europe because nothing can be great in these countries. These kind of mentalities, these kind of things that we say don't promote or help the next generation or the future men that are going to set foundations and frameworks for us to be able to get out of these situations where we feel we can't express ourselves. Because essentially that's what it is. Being an alpha male is you being able to express yourself under any circumstance. It doesn't matter about money. It doesn't matter about, the next person's opinion. This is how I feel and this is how I'm going to let you have it in a respectful way. And if you're not respectful, then we can go disrespectful too. It's either way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a tricky one for me. I feel conflicted because like I said, I was born here. I'm probably more British than I let on. But I love my culture too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like because when I look at the African culture, let's say when I go back to Ghana and stuff, and I look at families, it definitely looks different than the families here.
Yeah.
To me, because when I look at my parents and their friends and stuff, the moment they migrate here, things change, right? Family dynamic change. There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of divorce happening.
Yeah, crazy.
There's a lot of divorce happening. And I'll use my home, for example. The alphaness in the male became very toxic. It became very, I decide everything and y'all are my, it became very narcissistic. Let me put it that way. Very, very bad, abusive. So I'm just wondering, like, is it because they migrate that things change? Or is it character? Or is it that there are some men that are abusing their positions?
I think it's with it's a tough one. So with Africans, especially, you gotta remember, there's because of colonialism, there is a massive disparity between Europe and Africa.
Yeah.
For me, I try to compare the African elites. So the Africans that never left Nigeria or never left Ghana or never left Kenya or South Africa, they worked their way. So not people that were born into money, but they worked their way up to being in positions of, power and wealth, right? A lot of these people tend to have a, what's the word? They tend to have a decency because they understand where they've come from.
Mm-hmm.
People that are born into money, especially in Africa, and because of the way that the hierarchy structure is in Africa, this is where a lot of our people turn away from our cultures and values because hierarchy comes with trust.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use the workplace example again. If you go to your workplace, if your boss is abusing his power, you're either going to want to leave or you're going to want to file a grievance against your boss.
Yeah.
Those are the two ways it plays out. Whereas in a marriage, when you choose to be together, this is not a monetary value. The value that is got from it is what you both share from in here, in your heart, right, for each other. So I think that a lot of, taking it back to the question, I'm going off on a tangent here, sorry, but a lot of African men that come over, they find themselves not able to express themselves. And this is not an excuse for that behavior. My opinion, a real alpha male doesn't need to be aggressive with his wife. Alpha male doesn't need to be overly imposing. A word is enough. A conversation is enough. You know, for me, I think this is where a lot of, and that's why I said earlier, like about Africans not evolving and educating ourselves. You know, especially worldly awareness. The worldly awareness, and what I mean by that is the world is changing. So our women are not like women from 50, 60, 70 years ago.
Yeah.
A whole dependency and their whole life based on a man. You know, and what you find is that it's the insecurities and the characters of those individual men, right, are creating these stigmas for all the men.
Yeah.
A problem, because when the narrative is being discussed, everybody keeps focusing on the wrong men. The truth is, they probably in the real world make up a smaller portion of the actual men that are proper alpha males and doing the things they need to do for their families.
True.
But again, we won't get away from it if we continue to, what's the word I'm looking for? Subscribe to that as, okay, right, this is what African culture is like. It's about being aggressive. It's about being tough. Must do. Those are like that, but it's not in tone. Yes, I can tell you what to do. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But you're my wife. So why wouldn't you want to do it? You know, a lot of the things that I used to discuss before, it's like, you know, they say, yeah, if you want your wife to cook, it's somewhat misogynistic because a woman's place is not in the kitchen in modern day society. My thing is, why does a woman have a place? I like my woman to cook. That's one thing that I hold as a value. Period, point blank. I've grown up seeing women cooking for their husbands. That is what is tradition in where I've come from. And I don't need you to want to do that for me. I want to meet somebody that from a young age, she's been doing those things in her household for her.
Yeah.
Because then when it comes to me, it's not even a conversation. And
it's a normal thing.
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
Now, you know, again, sorry for going off on a tangent and bringing it back.
No problem.
No, it's okay. Feel free.
Back to your point, it's about trust. You know, at the end of the day, it's about trust. Every single man is an individual. Yes, we have collective characteristics and traits, and yes, of course, you know. But the bottom line is, every man is an individual, and some alpha males are very insecure. Some alpha males are very narcissistic. Some alpha males have had very bad upbringings, and their first which is meant to be with their mothers, wasn't great. And this is why I say, for me, I always say, and I'm very big on my women. Our women are the biggest superpower we have in this world. They're an important species on this planet. You are the ones responsible for raising the next generation, be it man or woman. The first interaction that child has is with you. So the foundations of how that child, you know, starts its life out in terms of innate spiritual feelings that they connect with, that they can't explain or voice, that's felt through the child and the mother. You know, so sometimes for me, I always say to myself, you know, how can we get to a place where we're correcting or righting some of our wrongs? A lot of it is down to, and a lot of women might not like hearing this, your role is more significant than you think. It's not about
I always say this.
or going on OnlyFans or talking rubbish on the internet because it is fun. It's about how you educate and teach and give these young men and women things to hold on to for a lifetime. You know?
Yeah.
But today we're growing up and everything is like, again, I'm going to use the word Western civilization. It's like how Western civilization is, which is everybody for themselves.
Yeah.
Like how our world operates on capitalism. You know, that capitalism is people using people, but we're all very woke. But nobody seems to object to the fact that we're running on a system of people using people. And I get me wrong, I understand that certain aspects of life are going to be like that because not everybody can do for themselves. Yes, that's the bottom line. Not everybody's going to be rich. Not everybody's going to be okay. But at the same time, it's during that economical, social, you know, sort of grouping closer together, where it's not too far from each other, which then in turn allows for families to be properly, in Europe, a lot of the women are the ones that are in control of the household in the eyes of the law. If your husband is not in the house, the woman gets more money. That doesn't promote your husband being a leader in your household.
True.
Want to hear something? Get out. You're telling the African man who's come from Nigeria, and he's a leader in his own right? But he's finding himself, maybe he hasn't got papers, or maybe he's, struggling to get a job. Now you're talking to him anyhow. And to normal guy, it's not even anyhow. It's just a European way of speaking to people.
Yeah.
That is, it's not going to work.
It is not.
No.
It is not. And I think it's very important that no matter who you are, you have to always know your identity, who you are. Despite you're growing up in America, US, or wherever you're growing up, your roots, your values, you should know who you really are, because that is your identity. That is what forms you first before anything. So, we love the fact that you've always been, you live in the UK, you're British, but you hold those traditional values very close to your heart. And it also shows in your body language, your structure, the way you handle things, the way you present yourself. And, I think that is a very wonderful thing. We want to go into the next session of our of the show, and that is like a getting to know you stage for the listeners that don't know Lucas, so that we can just round it up and not take all of your time for today. So I think Abna will lead us in the second session.
Yeah, sure. So we put a few questions for you. So they're very simple questions. You just need to answer. You don't need to think about it for too long. So the first one will be describe your worst date ever in one word.
Worst. Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. Okay. We are not going to go into that.
maybe a part 2 next time. You will explain what is the embarrassing part.
Yeah. As bad as people might be thinking, it's just, for me, it was quite embarrassing for myself. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, where am I? Jeez.
What's all this about? What's going on there today?
Oh my God.
That's nice. The second question is, what one person did you have on your bedroom wall when growing up?
Oh,
like someone you looked up to, or that inspired you.
I'll be very honest with you. I'm not Oyibo like that. I didn't have anybody on my wall. But the person that I looked up to, I'm a crazy Arsenal fan. It's my culture and Arsenal are probably like one answer. So I would have to say probably Arsene Wenger, who was the previous Arsenal manager.
Okay.
I learned a lot of how I talk today, and how I acquire knowledge through football, and how he taught. So he has a massive impact on my life, to be very honest with you.
Okay. That's good. What is the last movie or series you watched?
The last movie I watched was... What was the last movie I watched?
See, this typical man. This is my husband. He will not remember. He's like, it's not important. It's not important to me.
The last series I watched was a what was it called? It was about it was like a documentary on Michael Jordan, I believe it was. The Last Dance, I think it's called. Save the Last Dance.
Save the Last Dance. Oh, but you have also a documentary, Last Chance, with the basketballers, or is that what you mean, or?
No. Last Chance You. I know what you're talking about. That's called Last
Oh
Chance.
my God. Okay.
I can't remember what it's called, but it was a documentary about Michael Jordan's life. And he was
Okay.
well.
Okay. So Nike or Adidas?
Oh, you people, you're killing me here. Adidas.
What, Nike? Adidas. Okay.
Adidas?
Okay.
I was expecting Nike. I was expecting Nike from you. Come on.
Yeah, nah, the Nikes. I mean, yeah, Adidas.
So it means if I see you if I see you wearing Nike on social media, I can call you out.
No, because Nike, I quite a few Nike bits. But if I have to pick between the two, and to be honest, the reason why I made that choice is because of football. Majority of all is, but my trainers are predominantly Nike. So, but
Okay. What is your most treasured memory?
Ooh, my most treasured memory. Graduating.
Wow.
Okay.
Love that.
Going back during the pandemic to finish off my degree, and I told myself that if I, got a 2-1 or a first, I would do a master's, and then doing the master's and
Awesome.
For me, that was the most amazing thing for me in my life. I always said I would go back to school. School and education was not something I liked at all.
Yeah.
I did. But to be able to go back in my later, years, to be able to do that and be disciplined, is something that wasn't easy, but it's something that I cherish a lot. To be honest with you, it tested my character, should I say?
Yeah.
Definitely one of my most cherished memories. And probably when I did my first ever show after Backchat. I did a live show, sort of like a networking event, and I got a lot of people from my community and people that I'd worked with. And my mum came out on stage, and everyone.
Oh,
that was another moment that I would say I cherished a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
What is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal would have to be. Can I say a dog?
Oh, what? What? I was thinking something else, but
let me explain.
Please explain, because
please do, because
dogs are like man's best friend. I think that's how I am with the people that love me and love, if that makes sense. My character, to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong, I am like a lion and a dog. So I can be very much but at the very same time, I love everybody. I want...
Yeah, I can see that in you.
Yeah.
That's why first.
Yeah.
But yeah, that the spirit animal, stuff like that, it's not something I really think about, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. And we have a last question. Who is your hero? I don't know if you have one.
My hero is my older cousin. To be honest, it's not something I share a lot. I've even said that on any other platform.
Wow, so make our platform the first.
Yeah.
Special.
My older cousin, my uncle Taiwo. I call him Uncle Taiwo because he's like 10.
He's a twin?
Yeah, he's a twin too.
Taiwo, yeah.
But he's the most amazing person. Brother, my dad, my confidant. When I am not so alpha and when I'm weak and struggle and beat myself up for the things that I lack, that's the person that keeps me together.
Wow.
Even just thinking about it is making me a bit emotional.
Wow. Shout out to you.
Shout out to Uncle you, Uncle Taiwo. Uncle Taiwo, God bless you. Yeah.
he's my hero. Honestly, he's an amazing man, like an amazing person. I don't think anybody that's met him or come into contact with him hasn't loved him. Like he's
Wow. I love that.
yeah.
I love that. Wow.
It's a good way to end the show.
It's really a good way to end the show.
Yeah, we got Lucas emotional. That's mission accomplished.
Yeah. But that does not take away that Lucas is still an alpha male and he knows what he wants, guys. So
yeah,
I am so blessed, to have you on the podcast, and we really got to know a lot of things of, being an alpha male, the masculinity, and your view on
education.
Yeah, we guys, if you're looking or listening to this podcast, take notes.
It also helps me to understand my husband more.
Yeah, really.
So
and also
that's a good thing.
Yeah, and also the respect, because me and Abna always say, oh, being a woman is not easy, but being a man is also not easy.
I don't want to be a man.
I looked to my husband. There was one time I looked at my husband. I was like, "You carrying the whole weight of a family," and most of these, most of men that are Africans, they also have family back home, so they also carry a lot of responsibilities back home. So it's really not easy. So our respect. We love you, African men. We cherish you. We respect you, and we hope all women that are tuning in today that will take notes and also listen and value our African men, so that whatever relationship you're going into, whether it's a relationship, courting, marriage, you will understand the perspective of an alpha male.
Yes.
I
think we can end the show here, sis.
Yes, let's end the show. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Lucas, where can we find you if people want to follow you on Instagram or any socials?
So I'm on Instagram under The Real Uncle Lou. I'm on that as well as Uncle Lou, but you can find me on the I Am Lucas Walker.
Okay.
Those are the two main platforms that I use. I think what I would like to end and say is, believe in your man. The most key thing I think in anything is trust. Place in other aspects of your life, and again, I'll go back to the work analogy. The same trust you have in your workplace and in trusting in those processes, I think it's the same thing you build into your relationships. Bring process, bring trust, so that these things you can hold yourselves accountable. And at the end of the day, we make these choices. Be it you being an alpha male, a beta male, whatever kind of male you are. You make a choice to be with somebody. You go on your knee to ask someone to be your missus or girlfriend, or whatever the case may be. And likewise for my women, it's all a choice. So if two people choose to be together, choose to work, choose to understand each other. Men seek acknowledgement, women seek love. Work together in tandem, then these things can be achieved. But I say that to say this, man. 2 feet tough, stay strong, stand on your own 2 feet, believe in yourself, and trust in your process. That's what I've been doing. And that's what I would say anywhere, and like to promote to any young person, coming up, even any young man coming up. Today is not the end. Today is not it. There's always tomorrow, And with one step after the other, you will find a way through it.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much, Lucas, for, just giving us the last, advice to our listeners. So listeners, we're going to round it up today. Thank you so much for tuning in on DeeperWoman the Podcast. You can follow us on IG. That is DeeperWoman the Podcast. Follow us on Facebook. Join the Tribe Women. Let us educate each other on DeeperWoman the Podcast Facebook group. And stay tuned on Instagram. Every Friday, a new episode. We're back and better. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.